Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Just wanted to give you a little bit of time to give a little bit of background information on what's going on in Nehemiah. We've talked about this on Sundays. This will be review for some people. It may be new for others. Just a little bit of the context for where we are in the Bible and what Nehemiah is dealing with. I'm going to start way back actually in Genesis chapter 12. In Genesis 12, God calls Abraham. And he tells Abraham two big things. He says, I'm going to make you into a great nation, a people, and I'm going to give you a place, right? I'm going to set you in a land where you're going to actually be my vehicle of blessing the world. I'm going to bless those who bless you. I'm going to curse those who curse you. And through you, and through your family, and through this nation that grows out of you, I'm going to bless the world. I'm going to bless all the families on the earth. And that's going to happen for Abraham in a particular place. That place is what we call Israel. And so that's what happens. Actually, God is true to that promise. And eventually, God's people settle in Israel. We're just going to represent it with this circle. That's not really what it looks like. But over time, the kings of Israel start to divide. In fact, the whole nation gets divided in half. There's the northern kingdom that begins to be called Israel, and the southern kingdom that we call Judah. And those go on for a little bit of time until the kings, who by and large are not leading the people in the worship of the Lord, begin to stray so far that they actually get overcome by their enemies. In fact, Assyria comes in and conquers Israel, and really it's no more. That's in 722 BC. Judah, the southern kingdom, goes on for a little bit longer because by and large the kings are a little bit better, but eventually the same thing happens to Judah. And what we're told in the Bible is that the reason this happens is because they were unfaithful. And God has told his people, if you remain faithful to me, I will continue to bless you, and I will send you out to do this mission that I've called you to. But if you stray from me, I will scatter you. And this is what actually happens to Judah, is that Babylon, kind of the big bad wolf in town, ends up coming in and conquering Judah. Jerusalem is the capital city here in Judah. Conquers Judah, and Babylon has a very interesting strategy, is that what they do oftentimes when they conquer another country is that they'll bring a lot of those people into their land to bring them into what we call exile, and to train them in Babylonian culture and language and religion, hoping that they will overwhelm all these other cultures and send them back to be Babylonians. So that's what happens. And for 70 years, really there's no such thing as Israel at all. There's no Judah, there's no Israel. All of this is part of Babylon, and a lot of the folks in Judah are taken to Babylon. This is someone like Daniel, right? So when we read the book of Daniel, that's where Daniel is. He's in the court of Nebuchadnezzar, who's the king of Babylon. But, as oftentimes happens in the ancient world, there gets to be a new big bad wolf in town. This is Persia. And so Persia, this world empire, conquers Babylon and ends up taking all of Babylonian territory. That includes Israel. It includes really everything close to the Mediterranean, a huge empire the Persians had. And when Persia actually conquers Babylon and takes all of this, the king of Persia is a guy named Cyrus. And Cyrus does something that's actually kind of odd for ancient kings. He issues an edict that all the people who have been taken captive and who have been shipped off to Babylon can actually return to their native lands. And so he allows the Israelites who've been taken away to return to Israel, to Judah, and to resettle there, and to start to rebuild the temple and to rebuild the cities. And that's what they do. And then a couple of kings after Cyrus is a guy named Artaxerxes, if I could spell his name. And this is actually where we find Nehemiah here. Nehemiah is in the court of Artaxerxes the first in the Persian Empire, and he's the cupbearer to the king. And so we've already had folks go back to Jerusalem. And when we open up Nehemiah 1, there's been an envoy of people who've come from Jerusalem now into Persia and have said, hey, Nehemiah, things are still not good in Jerusalem. We've tried some rebuilding. we've been rebuilding the temple, we've been trying to rebuild the walls, but things are actually not going so well. In fact, this King Artaxerxes keeps shutting it down. And so that's where we kind of are with Nehemiah. He is the cupbearer to Artaxerxes. He's in his court, and he pleads to Artaxerxes to be able to go back and start to rebuild the walls. And that's really what the rest of the book of Nehemiah is about, is Nehemiah going back to reestablish things in Jerusalem. Again, for the purpose of God's people being God's people and actually embracing God's mission so that they might bless the world, so that they might be a light to the world, that they might be a city on a hill. We, of course, as the church, inherit that same mission, called, Jesus says, to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world. That is our mission as well. That's just a little bit of background on where we are. If you have any more questions, please reach out. Let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you. You can call me or Mike, and we'd love to sit down with you and explain it a little bit more. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you Sunday.